It's been over 3 weeks since the European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria presented its final report on the conduct of the 2023 general elections to the public. That 92-page report has generated several reactions from the government and members of the public who attempted to dissect the content of the document. For some political watchers, the European Union Election Observer Mission report on the 2023 general elections highlights the strengths and weaknesses of the elections and serves as a valuable tool for future reforms.
Our democracy is growing. We are post 20 years after democracy. Our democracy is supposed to be better than this. We've been administering elections since the return of democracy at least more than about 10 times. So it is enough for us to have learned from our mistake and to do things better, and we cannot continue in that trend. This is one of the takeaways I think this report strongly highlighted.
Some of the positive highlights of that report on the 2023 elections include the 2022 Electoral Act, which introduced measures aimed at building stakeholders' trust, the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, which aimed at ensuring the credibility of the elections, as well as commending the electoral umpire for sticking to its schedule for the elections.
A lot of experiences. Well done.
That report also highlighted some institutional and operational deficiencies, including perennial logistic challenges on the part of the electoral body, the inability to transmit results in real time to the IREF during the presidential election, violence prior to and on elections day, voter suppression, excessive pre-election litigations, poor implementation of the legal framework on campaign finance and management, among others. That report drew a quick rejection from the federal government. The president's spokesperson, Mr. Dele Alake, criticized the mission and its report in a statement which read, "We find it preposterous and unconscionable that in this day and age any foreign organization can continue to insist on its own yardstick and assessment as the only way to determine the credibility and transparency of our elections. We can now categorically let Nigerians and the entire world know that we were not unaware of the machinations of the European Union to sustain its largely unfounded bias and claims on the election outcomes." The statement further insists, quote, "For emphasis, we want to reiterate that the 2023 general elections, most especially the presidential election won by President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress, were credible, peaceful, free, fair, and the best organized general elections in Nigeria since 1999. We strongly reject in its entirety any notion and idea from any organization, group, and individual remotely suggesting that the 2023 election was fraudulent." End of quote. However, the European Union maintains that its interest has always been to enhance the quality of elections in Nigeria.
The missions have offered the report, and this is the objective, the purpose of those missions, is to offer reports about what happened, and more importantly, to offer recommendations. Now, we don't think that there will be any impact. We have very strong and good relations with the country.
In a similar vein, some political commentators have advised that the government should consider the merit of the report rather than reject it completely.
We are all witness to what happened on February the 25th during the presidential election. Concerns around perennial logistic challenges, the late commencement of polls. The EU report also highlighted that in some places in the southeast, election did not start until like 1 p.m. For me, we shouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I know people have concern that it wouldn't take a foreign body to come out with telling us about the problems we have with our election, but I think sometimes the truth is bitter.
Apart from highlighting the strengths and weaknesses of the 2023 elections, the EU Election Observer Mission also made 23 recommendations with 6 priority recommendations for future elections. They are: the need to protect the interest of voters through certainty of laws for all stages and aspects of the electoral process, the need to establish a robust operational framework for the independence and integrity of the electoral administration, candidate selection, the appointment of INEC commissioners and resident electoral commissioners, the need to protect the free expression of the will of the voters by establishing a transparent and easily verifiable result processing system with clear rules, afford adequate protection to freedom of expression by developing a comprehensive operational framework that promptly investigates and prosecutes all forms of attack against media practitioners, undertake urgent and robust affirmative action to ensure meaningful women representation, and also to address impunity for electoral offences through a well-defined interagency coordination with clear rules on non-partisanship. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission at a meeting recently to review the conduct of the 2023 elections with resident electoral commissioners promised to study all the 54 reports from the observer groups submitted to the commission.
We will give equal prominence to all the reports and review them in a holistic manner to ensure that necessary lessons are learned from their conclusions and recommendations.
The Commission is hoping that the recommendations from these accredited national and international observer groups who monitor the conduct of the 2023 general elections will form the bedrock for future electoral reforms.
You understand the vacuum between the president